Hello everyone, my name is Radio Mike and this is the Inside of My Mind, and I've decided that over the next 50 years I'm going to review every single Pokemon ever. Yes, that's right, I'm going to review every single Pokemon ever. Why? Because I realized that every single Pokemon ever created has so much information about them available that sometimes we look over and don't tend to read into much. With over 800 Pokemon and much more to come, with some sources claiming the next iterations of the series Sword and Shield will take that number to over 1,000, I want to know everything I can about every single Pokemon and give my honest thoughts about how I feel about all of them. And today, I want to start off with one of my personal favourites, the big, bad, praying mantis Pokemon from Generation 1, Scyther. And you might be surprised to find that Scyther is quite possibly one of the most psychopathic, murderous, ravaging Pokemon in the entire Pokemon world. Okay, so I think Scyther was a Pokemon that every kid growing up thought was one of the coolest designs out there. I feel like growing up with the original Pokemon games, there were a few Pokemon that seemed to be like universally loved by kids in design. Generally Pokemon that evoked some kind of ferociousness or obvious threat through their appearance. Pokemon like Charizard, Gyarados, Arcanine and Marchamp, they all seem to be really popular back in the day, but Scyther was definitely up there. And I mean, look at this guy. He's a giant 1.5 meter tall praying mantis with swords for arms. This guy is the epitome of threatening. So Scyther was a bug flying type Pokemon which was shared only by Butterfree in the original games. Scyther was definitely one of the really cool and threatening looking bug types in the original games, with your other options being Pokemon like Beedrill, Parasect, Venomoth and Pinsir. And Pinsir definitely gave off some threatening vibes with its pincing pincers on its head, but Scyther really stood out as like this premium bug-type Pokemon that everyone really wanted to catch. So obviously Scyther's name originates from the word scythe, a type of hand-used blade that was traditionally used for agricultural purposes like cutting grass and reaping crops. But obviously in gaming and pop culture, the scythe has been used as a weapon by a bunch of fictional characters, including the fucking Grim Reaper. Yes, that's correct. The weapon that Death uses to take people out of the world. Scyther just has two of those casually attached to him to use at any time. I'd seriously love to see a bug dark type Death variation of Scyther to reflect this at some point, to be honest. And in Japanese, Scyther's name is just Strike. Literally just strike, because once he catches you, he'll fucking strike you across the face with his scythes that Death uses to kill people. Scyther is an absolute boss of a Pokemon, and you should be very afraid of it. From Generation 2, Scyther can actually evolve into Scyther via a trade while holding the Metal Coat, and Scyther becomes a Bug Steel type Pokemon. But you know what the most interesting part is about this? Scyther and Scyther have the exact same base stat level as each other. This means that Scyther is the only Pokemon known who has the same base stats as its evolution. This is quite literally the Pokemon games telling you that Scyther is not necessarily stronger than Scyther, like most evolutions. They just both have different strengths in different areas. For example, Scyther is significantly slower than Scyther, but has higher attack and defense stats. But their base stats are exactly the same, 500. To put that in perspective, Charmander's base stat level is 309, while Charizard's is 534. That's literally over 200 stat points difference between them, but not for Scyther. Scyther doesn't take shit from any of its evolutions. Again, Scyther is based on a praying mantis, more specifically the Japanese giant mantis, but don't let that name fool you, because these praying mantises only grow up to about a centimeter high. Scyther is 1.5 meters tall. Like, if you saw a praying mantis in your backyard, you could just step on it if you felt scared. It wouldn't stand a chance against you. You couldn't step on Scyther. You couldn't even attempt to step on Scyther. And if you don't believe me about Scyther being potentially one of the most threatening, horrific Pokemon that you could ever encounter in the wild, take a read of some of its Pokedex entries from across the series. In Pokemon Red and Blue, Scyther is listed in the Pokedex with this description: With ninja-like ability and speed, it can create the illusion there is more than one of it. This is obviously referring to the move Double Team, which increases the Pokemon's evasiveness, because the opponent can't tell which Pokemon is the real one and which is just a speed echo version of it. But Scyther's ninja-like speed can create a literal illusion that there are multiple versions of it. Imagine that, surrounded by 10 Scythers with swords for hands. What would you even do in that situation? If you thought its ninja-like speed was chilling, have a listen to its entry in Pokemon Yellow version, which is a truly terrifying reflection of the actual reality of the Pokemon world. Scyther leaps out of tall grass and slices its prey with its scythes. Can we have that one more time? It leaps out of tall grass and slices its prey with its scythes. I've always thought about whether the Pokemon world works like the real world and Pokemon have like a food chain and hunt each other, and this literally confirms that. Scyther hides in grass and slices its prey open. Poor little Rattatas and Miltanks just chilling in grass, having a nice herbivore diet, and bam, Scyther comes up and slices them open with its death scythes. Pokemon Stadium's Pokedex entry for Scyther changes the adjective slices to shreds. It says it shreds its enemies with its razor-sharp scythes. Scyther is literally one of the most dangerous, ravaging, psychopathic killers of the Pokemon world. Another one from Pokemon Fire Red says that it tears and shreds its prey with its wickedly sharp scythes. Tears and shreds. Wickedly sharp. Scyther literally sounds like Freddy Krueger from The Nightmare on Elm Street. Imagine that. Scyther like coming into your dreams and trying to slash you up while you sleep. Scyther is an active killer in the Pokemon world. And do you want to know what's worse? Scyther's murderous ways aren't innate. They aren't born as psychopathic hunter-killers. They are actively trained to be murderers from the moment they are born. Here's the Pokedex entry for Scyther from Pokemon Moon version. While young, they live together deep in the mountains, training themselves in how to fight with their scythes and move at high speeds. Yes, Scythers actually train themselves to be murderous killers from youth, together. How fucked up is this? There are mountains where Scythers are all just chilling out together, teaching each other how to murder other Pokemon by shredding their skin open. And maybe you're thinking something like, but Scyther's scythes wouldn't be that sharp, and if you're thinking that, then you're completely wrong. Scyther's scythes are that sharp. In fact, they're probably sharper than you think they are. In Pokemon Ranger, the Pokedex explains that Scyther's scythes are so sharp they can destroy a metal fence. They can literally shred through metal, which actually raises the question as to why Scyther isn't automatically super effective against the steel type. If Scyther's scythes can literally destroy a metal fence, take note of the word destroy, not damage, destroy, then surely Scyther can literally tear through a Steelix or an Aggron like its metal is flesh. Seriously, if you come in contact with a Scyther in real life, you would and should be terrified. Even if you tried to escape and hide in a car, Scyther could literally slice through the door of your car to rip you to shreds. In Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia, they explain that Scyther attacks by slashing both arms while jumping around. Okay, so combine all of this together. It has ninja-like reflexes that make it hard to tell if there's only one Scyther or multiple Scythers coming towards you. It shreds its prey once it captures it, and its scythes are so sharp they can destroy metal. It will literally come up to you slashing its metal-destroying killer scythe arms until it kills you and eats your flesh. And the moves that it learns actively confirm all of this information. Literally listen to the names of the attacks Scyther will use when it tries to murder you. Air Slash, Fury Cutter, Razor Wind, X-Scissor, Night Slash. All of these attacks involve cutting and slashing. Even the attack X-Scissor seems to be unnecessarily brutal. The description of this attack is that the user slashes at the foe by crossing its scythes or claws as if they were a pair of scissors. Imagine just taking a pair of sharp, new scissors, going up to someone and just closing them on their flesh. It would rip straight through them, and Scyther's scythes are so sharp they can cut through metal. He is not attacking opponents, he is killing them instantly and brutally. Not to mention the non-damaging move Swords Dance, which is described as a frenetic dance of fighting. It sharply raises the user's attack stat. So basically, before Scyther kills you, it will do a dance to sharpen its scythe so it can kill you easier. Take a second for that to sink in. Currently, the last attack that Scyther learns in its move pool is an attack called Feint. And you know what Feint does? Feint is one of the only attacks that can bypass another Pokemon using Protect. Protect is an attack that Pokemon use literally to block all attacks. Scyther's scythes are so strong, it can learn an attack that pierces through Protect. Scyther is a psychopathic killer that does not play by the rules. So, in conclusion, by looking more into Scyther, I found out that not only is he a pretty amazingly designed bug flying type Pokemon, he's also actively a killer who is trained from birth to murder other Pokemon and tear their flesh apart. Scyther gets 5 Pokeballs out of 5. I love it. Let me know who you'd like me to review next. There are so many Pokemon out there and I'd be happy to do all of them. Check out my podcast 20th Century Boy. Subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you check out some of my other videos. My name is Radio Mike and this has been The Inside of My Mind. See you later.